Hey friends, Chris here with Little Roots Ranch, and today is, well, at least this filming is March 1st, and March is such a wonderful month because in March, everything just gets better. We get to start a whole lot of seeds and really get that jump on the New Year's garden. And then we also, the days are getting a little bit longer and a little bit warmer, and we're a little bit closer to summer and all of that exciting stuff. So today I wanted to talk about what seeds we can start in March, including starting inside versus outside, and then also some caveats on heat-loving crops. And so real quick, just to kind of give a few bits of understanding before we get into the list. So when we think of crops, I want you to think of ones that are grow best in cool seasons, which would be your spring and your fall, and then also heat-loving crops, which that one's pretty easy, but the ones that do best in the summer. And so, if you're brand new to and you're not sure what are crops that do best when it's cold and the ones that love the heat, a good way, it's not 100%, but it'll mostly get you there. But if you think about a grocery store, think about all the crops that are, all of the vegetables that are in the refrigerated section or that get misted. And generally that's going to be cabbage, broccoli, carrots, lettuce mixes, kale, all of those things, even scallions a little bit. And those are going to be things that really like it cold or at least cooler. Then you've got your heat-loving crops. Now those are a little bit different. Those are the ones that you would find like tomatoes, watermelons, onions, peppers, things like that. And again, it's not, 100%, but it's a good way to think about it. And so in the cooler seasons, you want to be growing your cooler crops. And then of course, and that's again, spring and fall. And then the summer is when you have your heat-loving crops. Now there is some crossover and starting and stuff like that, but I just wanted to give that piece of understanding when you're looking at what should I be planting, and of course also indoors versus outdoors. Now this list that I'm about to give you works for direct sowing, which is placing the seeds into the ground, raised beds, containers, etc., or starting them indoors, which includes like in your home or in a heated greenhouse, whatever. But we'll go through kind of each grouping and talk about them. And then at the very end, we'll talk about starting heat-loving crops, and then also just some thoughts on that. Okay, so first we're going to talk about root vegetables, and we all know what those are. And those are always really should just be planted directly into the ground. There are some farmers and stuff, or like small farmers that will start them in cells. I've done that as well. The trick is you have to transplant them really fast, and it's not really beginner friendly, and you do run risk for having misshapen ones. I think a lot of us, if we've been around, have tried that with carrots, and they're like that long and they have like these nubs at the end, and they're kind of cute, but they're not, it's not the carrot that we want to grow or whatever. So for root vegetables, best to just start them outside. And so those are radishes, turnips, carrots, and potatoes. Potatoes are generally started St. Patrick's Day, just for tradition. Realistically, you can start them anytime. But I always like tradition. So I try on St. Patrick's Day, get my tomatoes in. I think I'm behind it this year though, but anyways, so get your tomatoes in, or potatoes, I'm sorry. Then we're going to talk about greens. Now greens is anything that you would do salad or braise or anything like that. And all of them are cool weather loving crops, and they do really well. They grow fabulous for us. The snails snails and slugs are always a problem, but they grow really well. And those can be started directly outside or inside with plan to transfer out sooner than not. And that's spinach, Swiss chard, arugula, Asian greens, kale, collard greens, mustard greens, and lettuce. All of those do well, again, start inside or outside. And then we have herbs. If you're sowing outside, cilantro, fennel, parsley, and then of course some flower ones like the calendula and the poppy. Those can be directly sown into the ground. If you're starting inside or something like that, then you can add a few more things like oregano, marjoram, summer savory, lemon balm, things like that. Then we come to the cole crops, and those are like the broccoli rabe, the cabbage, including Chinese or Napa cabbage. And those ones are kind of a wild card for direct sowing. I would always recommend later in the month for that. But in general, I think the most part, those are started indoors, but you could also do both and it's always an interesting experience to see how they grow and stuff like that. But usually I recommend starting those indoors. You don't want them indoors too long though. And yeah, one of the reasons that one of the problems that arises from having cool living crops indoors is that it's not cold indoors, or cooler, I should say. And so this is going to sound kind of funny, but heat acts as an accelerant. And like, think of like fertilizer, like nitrogen, but like very powerful nitrogen. And the thing is having a fast growing plant, actually, it's not a good thing, because the plant is focused on adding growth, but it's not strong, stable growth. And so especially things like broccoli, cauliflower, tomatoes, any of that, you get that tall, fast, leggy growth. And so you have a bigger plant, but you don't have a healthy, strong plant. And ultimately having a smaller plant that's really strong is way more important. So if you are starting inside, keep that in your mind, or if you're doing heat loving crops and the cool crops. So it's kind of a balancing act. In the end, it always works out however it happens, but those are kind of those fine tuning things if you're looking to kind of upgrade your gardening knowledge or whatnot. But okay, moving on. Our last category, well, second to last, I guess, is peas and beans. And so peas are great. They are the all-stars of the early spring. And that's all the peas. Any pea that ever had a pea in the name, peas are good. And that includes all of them. So that's the shelling peas, the snow peas, and the snap peas. All the peas are good to go. For bean, it is only garbanzo bean. Now, I haven't grown them. I would love if any of you have grown them. Any feedback? I heard they don't, they're not very prolific, and that you need a lot of the plants to get a little bit of beans. If anybody can confirm or deny that, that would be awesome. I have not grown them. But if this is your year to grow garbanzo beans, now is the time. The rest of the beans are all heat loving, and those you really want to wait on. All of the drying beans or anything like that, you just want to wait on that. And so the last category I'm going to talk about is heat loving crops. And I'll put this list in the show notes, by the way. But so when you think of heat loving crops, it's all the things that love the summer, tomatoes are always the pride and joy of every gardener, with good reason, but so our weather has been interesting. Obviously I track the weather. I like Know Tomorrow because gardening, farming, but our weather has moved a lot. And especially starting around 2021, we started having those really cold spells in the winter, and then we started getting those heat waves in the summer. But we were when we would go from, and I'm sure you guys remember this, in the spring, we would take so long to even a little bit warm up. And we would go from last frost to 110 degrees. Maybe not that dramatic, but not far off. And our traditional weather, which we're getting back to now, and I'm for it, by the way. We have our very mild, our maritime weather, our winters don't get, this is Pacific Northwest, obviously. Our winters don't get too cold, our summers don't get too hot in comparison, and a lot of us love it for that reason. And the crops that we can grow are amazing. That's why we're berry capital and all these things. Other places can't grow berries like we can, or whatever. We also struggle a little bit with tomatoes and all that, but you know, is what it is. There's always a trade-off. But now that we're stabilizing a little bit, and the list that I make on recommended seeds to start each month, for the most part, doesn't change too much, but it does a little bit. And one of the things that gets moved the most are the heat-loving crops, because they really don't like to go out early. And they also, I think, are the number one thing that people tend to start earlier than maybe they should, especially when we were taking like a long time to warm up. Excuse me. But like now, as we go back to our regular scheduled weather, like last year, I think we were all planning out tomatoes, at least in greenhouse. What was it? Mid-May? Like early mid-May. I think a few other people hit early May, and I did mid-May, and everything went well. And that's kind of never heard of, or at least in a long time. Again, that was undercover. But so each year you kind of want to think about how do you think the weather's going to be? And I understand that nobody can predict anything, and Mother Nature can change on a dime. And I've seen Junes that are not frosting, but it feels very close, and like torrential rain and sideways wind. And I had my little tomato plants just flapping in the wind, and they gave me a great harvest, but I had like a sleepless night, I'll tell you that. I saw them. But anyways, so with all that to say is that with the heat loving crops, there's always, especially tomatoes, there's always a push to plant earlier and earlier and earlier. There's the excitement factor, all of that stuff. I always want to remind you that smaller plants truly perform better. I know that that's hard to follow, or sometimes even to grasp, but like a lot of like local farmers who sell tomato starts, they grow the first set of plants for customers because customers want large tomato plants, but their own actual tomato plants are planted much later, because having a big plant without having a huge root system, all of these things in place, it actually kind of sets you back. And so, I know it's hard to hear, but like if you're at a nursery and you see a smaller, you're actually 9 times out of 10 better off doing that. And so also when starting your seeds, you want to think about how fast each thing grows. Like peppers grow much slower than tomatoes. To me, I feel that tomatoes are like a weed almost, in that tomatoes, or at least for me, they grow really fast. And for me, they double in size every week. And so like it's cute from like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch or whatever, and then 1 inch to 2 inches, like, oh, look at my little plants. And then pretty soon you're going from like 8 inches to 16 inches. And it's like, these don't fit in my stand. I don't have, the lighting won't go high enough. I can't like put them in, a gallon or 2 pot, like in your living room or what your seed starting area, whatever it may be. So for me, historically, I have always not always, but generally planted my tomatoes around April 15th, tax day. I am considering planting them April 1st. I might plant a little bit earlier for sales because people want bigger tomatoes. But for my best advice would be to wait till April. I know that not a lot of people will. And it also depends on your extra time. If you're only growing a couple plants and you have the ability to continue potting up, then absolutely go for it, But if you're growing a little bit larger scale, or you're brand new and you don't want to get overwhelmed, or you have just a busy life, traveling, children, animals, job, whatever, that takes up a lot of your time, starting tomatoes earlier, and I'm sure that there will be comments down below of people validating that, and we've all done it, where you start the tomatoes really early and they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and they just don't stop getting bigger, and then they're really leggy, and then they're like turning like yellow and orange, and then it's like, why is this so much problem? And so it's always easier just to start them a little bit later. That being said, I am pushing mine up about 15 days this year from last year. So I'm planning for my personal ones to start April 1st. In late, probably mid to late March is when I plan to start my peppers, as well as eggplant, because peppers grow slower. And then also I want to pinch them. And so that sets them back a little bit. Pinching is like a pruning thing to make bushier plants. But, and then, tomatillos, I don't remember if I'm growing them this year. I always say I'm not going to, and I always plant at least 2 or buy 2, like seedlings or whatever. So I'm sure I'll have them. And then the other one, what's the other one? Eggplant. Always eggplant. I am the biggest eggplant advocate that there is. I love eggplant. And then peppers, and then ground cherries is another one. I generally don't grow ground cherries because I grow every fruit imaginable in mass because we are a berry farm. And so I don't need another sweet thing, but I used to love growing those before that. But anyways, so to round up the seed starting list, and again, the whole list will be in the show notes, but your root vegetables, all of them, go for it. Plant them outside. All of your greens, absolutely, lettuces, kales, chards, all of those things, you can go for it. Plant them directly outside or start them indoors. The only difference, and this is going to be for all the categories, is if you plant them out, or if you seed them outside, it's going to take a while for germination. And if you start them inside, it'll be right away. So if you're not a patient person, don't direct sow. But you also get healthier root systems and healthier plants if you do. So it's pros and cons for everything. But anyways, all your greens, go for it. Indoors, outdoors, doesn't matter. Your herbs, your cooler weather dealing herbs, cilantro, fennel, parsley, put those outside. Anything else you can start inside. Broccoli family, cabbage family, all that stuff. Cauliflower would be included as well, but that one you're definitely going to want to start inside at like just a little bit warmer temperatures than the other two. It's probably best to start those inside, but you can also directly plant them, especially if we've been warm. All your peas, go for it. And garbanzo bean all by itself. And then if you're looking to start your heat-loving crops, those would be ground cherries, peppers, tomatillos, tomatoes, eggplant. You can start those this month. You can start them next month too. For peppers, I would get those in March. The other ones can go the very beginning of April and stuff like that. Also, just to say, I do last year and almost every year, I have tomato plants that are winter sown, or, well, they're not specifically winter sown, but they're just remnants from some random tomato that was laying there or whatever. And I collect fruit off of them. And they don't start coming up till or germinating till June-ish. So there's having a plan and all of that stuff, but ultimately 99.9% of the time, for the most part, it always works out. And so happy gardening and happy seed starting and all of that. If you have any comments, questions, go ahead and leave those down below. If I missed anything or you want to add to the list, drop that down below so we can all share the information. Just any tips or anything like that. Happy March. Bye.